Good morning, everybody. Jessica Holmes has made a career out of making us laugh. As a comedian, she's opened for Jerry Seinfeld, Ellen DeGeneres, no big deal. She's also performed with Second City, Just for Last Week, and go on and on. Despite a life of brilliant comedy, she's been very open about her struggle with depression and writes about it in her book called, wait for it, Depression, the Comedy. Here to share her story, please welcome Jessica Holmes. I've been yapping your ear off the whole time. I got to say, I was reading this book in the office, and I sort of felt guilty because you look at the title, and there I am laughing out loud. This was a place you got to now, but you certainly weren't laughing a few years ago. Talk to us about that.
No, so I have been through postpartum depression and then regular garden variety run-of-the-mill depression, and I decided to write about it only in retrospect, and in a really funny way, the same way that if I want my kids to eat broccoli, and they won't, I just grind it up and put it in cake mix.
Yeah,
and then
sugar
there
and
you
chocolate.
go. Yeah, so this is the broccoli wrapped in cake.
And of course, you had friends, and you're brilliant in that you have all of these little moments like dialogue with the journals, and the way they play out, it's like you're watching a movie, right? It's so absurd, or you're watching a play. I see this as a film. We'll talk about that later, but the advice some people gave you, they had good intentions. It was things like, go get fresh air.
Yeah, you just need fresh air. You just need, I've had people tell me everything from, like when you share that you have suffered mental health issues, sometimes people just say, you know what, my cousin cut out gluten and poof, depression was gone, life was better. Or you know what, if you just get a little bit of acupuncture, then you're going to see it's going to go. And you're saying, this is about the mind, this is about, it's very complex. Even doctors are still learning about it every single day.
Right. For everyone, it's different. And it snuck up on you. And it was your husband that said, listen, we're going to call a doctor, right? Because you realized this wasn't something that was going to go away or is a quick fix for.
Yeah, well, I kept thinking my sadness was based on, like, hey, your shoes are always cluttering up the front door, so let's go to marriage therapy and get you fixed. And when we went to see the marriage therapist, she was like, it was kind of awkward. I think you're depressed. And so I was like, oh, shoot,
there it is.
Okay. But in the good news about that was, it turns out it wasn't my marriage that was the problem. And so when, you know, once I got my issues dealt with, then suddenly my relationship with my husband fell back into place.
And you were given great advice, which was to get a dog. We actually have a picture. Why was that amazing for you, and how did it help?
So my problem when I was in a depression was I couldn't get off the sofa. I just felt like I had bricks tied around me. And so eventually the psychiatrist said, you know what, what will get you off the sofa? And I said nothing. And she said a dog would get you off the sofa. So we got this mutt, and she stared at me every single day. So I was like, fine. And at first I would just take her like around the block a few times, and eventually, look at her. She's a little cutie.
Adorable. Forces you out, right?
It forces me out. And so I started with like a 1K, and people were pulling over in their cars saying like, are you in distress? Because I'd be like running in my jeans and crying and stuff. And I'm like, I'm the face of mental health. So, but now almost every day I run a 5K with her.
It's amazing.
Like, I feel great, yeah.
What do you say to people watching right now who think, you've come out on the other side of this, you can joke about it, it's a brilliant read, even though it's such a serious subject. They feel like they cannot see past the gray, because you were there. You didn't want to laugh, you didn't want to get out of bed, you didn't want to stop eating comfort foods.
Yeah.
What do you say to them?
So first of all, to anyone suffering from mental health issues, I would say I'm so sorry that you're in this tough place. And I would also say that setting lofty goals or telling someone just smile more, just something like that, is completely unrealistic. What was realistic for me was tiny little changes that I could feel proud of. Like, people don't understand that, like, getting off the sofa and going around the block or eating a few more vegetables or something, even those tiny things can snowball into more feelings of self-worth and excitement about life. So I would say, take it easy and have small, realistic expectations, and then eventually you will climb the mountains later. But for now, you know, love yourself and know that you are not alone. This is 1 in 5 people go through this.
Absolutely. Great advice. Thank you for making this such a beautiful read. Everyone has to check it out, whether you know someone with depression or you're battling it yourself. It's called Depression, the Comedy. It's actually out tomorrow, but it is available right now on Amazon, yeah? Thank you so much, Jessica. And I do see this as a film. If Hollywood comes knocking.
Starring you.
Starring you. Are you kidding me? Starring you. So great to see you.
Thank you.
Right now we're going to throw things over to Mel.